Why did you forget to take the bins out before you left?
A modern woman learns the hard way that assaulting cops is probably a bad idea. Let's jump right into it.
What do you mean you didn't do anything? The cop was running and you tried to trip him. And the crazy thing is you have no idea what he was doing, why he was running in the first place.
She just assumed that he was evil and thought that she was doing humanity a favor by trying to assault a cop. Women like this think they are above punishment for that reason, and it gives them yet another excuse to try and avoid accountability for their stupid actions.
For you to sit there and try to trip this man. For all you know, he could have just got a call to go help somebody that was in need. Or he was chasing someone that just committed a horrible crime. And I'm so glad he turned around to arrest your dumb. And you're gonna scream, "Help me," as if you're a victim when you tried to trip this man. That should serve as a lesson for you. Next time you see a cop doing something that has nothing to do with you, mind your business. And then you won't end up in a situation where you're in handcuffs. You tried to trip him, consequences came your way, you then lied, and after that, when you were getting arrested, you try to scream and act like the victim. That's insane.
The sad part is that this used to not only be common knowledge, but we also agreed on it as well. But people like this just want to do whatever they want and assume there will be no consequences.
Men have no honor anymore.
Honor, huh? Interesting. I wonder how they're going to try to nitpick men today.
There are some men in this world who I do believe have held on to some part of their dignity.
When are we going to get to the point about honor?
But for the most part, men out here would rather sit at home on their playing video games than actually doing anything important with themselves or their life.
We've been witnessing a massive change in language in the last few years. A lot of words have been rendered completely meaningless, and it looks like we can add honor to that list as well, because apparently you have no honor if you just hang out at home and play video games.
Let's be very clear. A lot of gentlemen work very hard most of the time during the week, and a lot of gentlemen enjoyed playing video games as a way to unwind, and there's nothing wrong with that. What's the problem?
They don't stand on their word, they don't stand on business, and they fold like a lawn chair when any amount of pressure requires them to grow up.
They never did mention anything having to do with honor, did they? But, after all, if nothing else, this has been a wonderful example of what not to do. To take a person's personal experience and use it to then generalize an entire population of people.
The only reason why she's even complaining is because she got stood up by Chad, and now she wants to blame the entire population of men for the fact that she is single, alone, and can't get a good man to save her life.
Most people ask questions about problems that they have in their life, and I try to point them in the right direction.
That's not a lawyer, that's a therapist.
So as a lawyer, what makes you more qualified to provide, like, better advice than the average person?
Law school.
Huh?
Law school?
Okay, so, like, how? Like, what about law school?
I mean, like, that's a really loaded question. It's like asking an engineer, what makes you better at being an engineer than just someone off the street that went to
what if you
high
ask a
school?
lawyer, like, an emotional question? Does law school make you, like, more qualified to answer that kind of question? And give advice
That's
on
not
that?
what we do. These are legal questions.
You said they come from problems.
These women must lead incredibly boring lives. They see a lawyer who offers free legal advice, and the first thing she wants to do is rip into him because apparently a lawyer who wants to help people is a guy who needs to be knocked down a peg or two. I just don't understand.
You didn't clarify. You said legal problems. I'm a lawyer.
So, I mean, I don't mean to be rude, right? But it's kind of implied that if you're asking a lawyer, you're asking them a legal question. You don't call your podiatrist and ask them about your taxes, do you?
Well, no, I just asked you. I was like, what do you do? You said answer people's questions with problems. So that's
Correct. Most people have, like, problems. They don't know where to start.
Legal problems.
I don't need to specify legal problems. It's implied with the word lawyer.
Where'd you go to law school?
This woman has a lot of nerve. She insulted this guy to his face and then immediately goes to his dog and starts petting it while also trying to question his credentials. I mean, this is just incredibly rude in my opinion, but of course she doesn't care. She sees a dog and feels entitled to pet it.
Sister told me this story about how she broke up with this guy that gave her the ick. What happened was she dated this guy who, on paper, was amazing. He was a handsome man, he had a good job, good finances, owned several properties. And one day she was at his house, and she asked him, like, what do you do for fun? You know, like, what's fun for you? And he looked a little confused. And then he said, well, sometimes I play guitar. And he goes into his room, goes into his closet, and behind a bunch of luggage and boxes, he pulls out this dusty old guitar. And he plays a song, and it's really good, and he sings really well. My sister was like, that's amazing.
Whenever a modern woman says that a guy looks really good on paper, there's always something stupid that's going to follow after that. Something small and nitpicky that she will ultimately use as an excuse to dump the guy.
And he goes, yeah, when I was younger, I wanted to be a musician. And then he puts the guitar back behind the boxes and the clothing and closes the door. She said that gave her the ick. It gave her the ick because here's a man that walks around the world projecting success through finances and achievements at work. But deep down, he always wanted to be something different. And he buried the last relic of that dream deep in his closet. And that's gay.
He dumped him because he didn't follow his dream of becoming a musician when he was younger. It never once occurred to her that, I don't know, maybe he found other interests that brought him joy in life.
Guys are so lucky. You guys do not understand. So I'm 25, right? I'm sitting here and I'm having to build a roster. I'm having to sit here and go out and do things I don't want to do. I don't want a roster. I don't want to go out and date. I don't like this hookup culture. I don't like any of it. But I feel like I don't have a choice. Men, you guys just get to sit there and you guys can go wait until you're in your 30s, you're almost 40, and you can just go get with a girl that's in her 20s and live a normal life. Girls don't have that luxury.
Nobody told this woman that she had to build a roster or date multiple guys at the same time. That's actually the dumbest thing a woman can do, by the way. She could have easily gotten a guy that was within her league, but it's obvious that she didn't want that. She would rather crash out in her car.
We're on the fact that it takes men to become accomplished to even be seen. Just minimizing it all because it's just so hard because we get so much attention now and we gotta filter through everything now and make sure it's right now. It's easy, just don't be look good, smell good, be nice, be fit, be feminine, and don't be
Modern women have no idea how easy they have it. The men are the ones who have to work 5 times as hard to just get a woman to notice him. And even then, if he's not perfect, she tries to find someone better. But even then, it's still our fault for not being good enough.
Why is nobody into single moms? I know how to cook and clean and do laundry and other things. I just don't know why it's so hard to find a good man. Could you tell me why it's so hard?
It's hard because men don't want to be with single mothers. It doesn't matter if she can cook, clean, and do laundry. Men can do all of those things, all while not having to take on the financial responsibility of a child that isn't his, and a woman whose loyalty is questionable at best.
In the span of 24 hours, I had one man tell me that nobody will date a girl with a kid. And then I vented to another guy about the person who said that. And then he told me, no, that's not true. But a man doesn't want to date a girl who has slept with a lot of guys. 2 for 2.
The only types of people who say that body counts don't matter are simps and modern women who have hooked up with way too many dudes. A woman who puts herself in that position has far too much emotional baggage and not enough qualities that a man finds desirable. It's that simple.
Women don't even know how to treat men because they were never taught how. Boys grew up being trained from day one. Be a gentleman, open the door, protect her, provide for her, be understanding. And if she hits you, you don't hit her back. Everywhere we looked, the message was the same. Movies, books, fairy tales. The man rescues the woman. The man saves the day. The man risks his life. The man carries the burden. And women were always the princesses, right?
We were taught to be respectful people. The problem is that modern women took advantage of that by expecting men to remain traditional while they destroyed everything about themselves that men found attractive. It's just a modern woman's desire to always want more.
But there's a problem with that. We never saw the reverse. We never saw stories about how women should be treating men. No novels teaching girls how to respect a man. No movies demonstrating feminine loyalty, softness, or devotion. Parents don't even teach it. School doesn't even teach it. And society definitely doesn't teach that. So, guess what happens? We have generations of women who expect everything, but were never taught to give anything back. And feminism made it worse. Instead of teaching women how to understand men, how to work in synergy, how to create polarity, it taught them to compete with the men.
Womanism taught women that it wasn't just acceptable to hate men, but that was the only way to actually treat men. That's why the mere idea of respecting men will send a womanist into a blind rage, and then they turn around and have the nerve to say that we're not doing enough when what they're demanding is quite literally impossible. But anyway, guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Click this video that's up on the screen now if you want to see more. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.